Tila hindi nga patitinag si Senator Amy Marcos hanggat hindi nalalaman ang anomalye sa pagdakip sa dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Ayon kasi kay Senator Amy, may nagsabi sa kanya na imbestigahan si General Torre dahil may malaking taong kumokontrol dito upang pabagsakin ang mga Duterte. Samantala tila sampal naman kay Amy Marcos ang inamin umano ng kapatid nitong si President Bongbong Marcos matapos nga nitong questionin ang ginagawang pagtulong ng kapatid kay Rodrigo Duterte. Narito panoorin ang video.
Yusek, regarding po dun sa Senate probe on the arrest of former President Duterte na nakaschedule po bukas, nabanggit po ni ES na hindi lilitaw yung ating mga opisyal bukas at sinabi naman ni Senator Marcos na yung executive privilege daw po is not blanket, meaning hindi po nito saklaw lahat at pwede naman daw pong kung sakali, kada topic naman yung pwede ninyong i-invoke yung executive privilege, hindi yung outright, hindi sisipot yung ating mga official. Ano pong masasabi ng Malacanang doon?
Opo, gusto lang po natin liwanagin. Sinabi po ni Senator Amy Marcos na tanggap po niya ang liham, ang letter, mula sa opisina po ni Executive Secretary noong March 31 ng gabi. So as of March 31 ng ating press briefing ay wala pa pong nagiging desisyon patungkol po dito. So yan po ay liliwanagin lamang po natin. Pero yun nga, sabi po si Senator Amy Marcos, natanggap po niya yung letter ng gabi na po ng March 31. At ayon nga po sa napagdesisyonan, alam na po ng mga cabinet members natin, ng mga cabinet officials natin, na sapat na po. Sa kanilang pananaw ay sapat na po ang kanilang mga nasabi, na ibigay na facts, mga data, sa naunang hearing sa ni Senator Amy Marcos. At yun po, at sa tingin po namin ay sapat na po considering the fact na nagkaroon na rin po siya ng kanyang preliminary findings. So, yun po, at hindi po natin masasabi na hindi naman po tinugunan ang mga katanungan kung ito po ay in aid of legislation. So, malamang po ay sapat na po ang mga nasabi ng ating mga cabinet officials para makagawa na po siya ng kanyang batas patungkol po dito.
Sabi ni Senator, it would have been an opportunity daw po sana sa administration to prove na walang tinatago ang inyong administrasyon hinggil sa pag-aresto.
Wala naman pong tinago dahil sapat na po yung napakahabang oras nung unang hearing para po masabi ang dapat na masabi po ng ating mga cabinet officials patungkol po dun sa pag-surrender kay dating Pangulong Duterte sa ICC.
And she said she would ask for reconsideration. So obviously, will there be a change in the stance of Malacanang with regard to this? And looking forward, magiging ganito na po ba yung magiging patakaran kapag may mga hearing na may kinalaman sa administrasyon?
Tignan po natin kung ano po mangyayari kung siya po ay nag-a-ask ng reconsideration. Wala pa pong tugon dito si E.S. Bersamin.
Next question, Ann Soberano, Bombo Radyo.
Yusek, good morning. Reaction lang po ng Malacanang sa naging pahayag po ni AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Brawner na pinaghahanda po niya ang mga sundalo, especially po yung Northern Luzon Command, sakaling may sumako po sa Thailand dahil posibleng maapektuhan po ang Pilipinas. Ito ay kasunod po, Taiwan, sorry po, dahil po sa posibleng maapektuhan ang Pilipinas. Kasalukuyang nagsasagawa ng military exercise ang China sa may bahagi po ng Taipei.
Opo, napakinggan po natin at nabasa rin po natin ang statements po ni AFP Chief Romeo Brawner. At sa aming pagtanto ay hindi naman po dapat mabahala ang taong bayan patungkol po dito. Tama lamang po na magkaroon po siya ng reminder sa buong troops, pati na din po sa taong bayan na we should always be prepared in all contingencies. Yun lamang po. At kung may mga detalye pa po patungkol dito ay hahayaan na lamang po natin si Secretary Teodoro at saka si AFP General AFP Chief Romeo Brawner sumagot po dyan.
Sa panig pa ng Palasyo, Ayusek, may pinag-uusapan na po ba ang mga posibleng senaryo, lalo na po't may mga Filipino din sa Taiwan?
Opo, muli po, ang anumang pong detalye patungkol po dito ay manggagaling po sa ating Defense Secretary at saka po kay AFP Chief Brawner.
Also, Yusek, ano po ang plano ng ating pamahalaan para sa mga 250,000 na makababayan natin na nasa Taiwan, lalo na sa usaping posibleng repatriation?
Opo, sa mga ganyang contingencies, kung magaganap po, lagi po tayong handa. Katulad po ng sinabi ni AFP Romeo Browner, lagi tayo dapat handa sa anumang contingency. Kung mangyayari pan po yan, hindi po tayo dapat magtulog-tulog sa ating posisyon at sa trabaho, lagi po tayong handa. Pero again, ang detalye pong iyan ay ibibigay po natin sa ating Defense Secretary at kay AFP Chief Browner.
Lastly na po, Yusek, amid this development, anong mensahe ng pamahalaan sa ating mga kababayan sa Taiwan at sa taong bayan? Thank you.
Stay put. Basta po, tandaan po nila, ang gobyerno po ay handang tumulong sa anumang oras para sa kanila.
Next question, Maricar Sargan, Brigada FM.
Good morning po, Yusek. Naglabas po ng travel advisory kahapon ang Chinese Embassy sa mga citizens po nila dito sa Pilipinas o yung mga nagbabalak pong pumunta dito sa bansa to conduct daw po a thorough risk assessment because aside sa binanggit nila na nagkakaroon ng increased political gatherings, they also cite na yung frequent incidents of harassment and inspection daw po sa mga Chinese citizens and businesses by our law enforcement agencies. Nakikita po ba ng palasyo na magkakaroon po ito ng blow sa ating tourism? And nakikita rin po ba ng palasyo na may kaugnayan po ito sa recently na pagbisita ko ni US Defense Secretary Hegseth?
Ang kanilang travel advisory ay it's just a normal consular function of China. At we can assure China na hindi po tayo nagta-target ng particular nationality or particular national na para iharas. Tandaan po natin, lahat po dito ay welcome, except po, of course, kapag gumagawa po ng krimen, i-implement po natin kung ano po ang batas. Malamang po nasasabi po nila ito dahil sa ating pagpapatupad dito sa Pogo na dapat ay mawala na sa atin at karamihan po dito ay mga Chinese nationals. So malamang po ay isa ito sa nagiging issue po. Pero muli, ang DFA po ay open po for discussion regarding this at i-assure natin muli ang China na wala po tayong tinatarget na particular national.
Clay Pardilla, PTV4.
Good morning po, Yusek. Yusek, how is the government reaching out and extending help assistance to Filipinos detained in Qatar for unauthorized political protest? May mga na-release na raw po na minors, but their parents are still detained. May mga kamag-anak po ba sila roon?
Okay, ayon po kay Secretary Hans Kakdak, patuloy pa rin po ang ating pakikipagtulungan sa ating mga kababayan sa Qatar. At meron po talaga na mga minors, mga bata, pero as of the moment, itong mga bata daw po na ito ay hiniling po ng ating embahada na kung ating maaaring maalagaan. Pero yung ibang mga parents po ay iniwan daw po ang ibang mga bata sa kanilang mga napagkakatiwala ang mga kaibigan sa nasabing bansa. Pero umasa po ang mga kababayan natin, kahit po yung mga kapag-anak nila dito na nasa Pilipinas, hindi po titigil ang ating pamahalaan na tumulong sa mga detained dito sa Qatar na mga kapwa nating Pilipino.
Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
Yusek, the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines is appealing to the President to push for the urgent passage of the legislated wage hike, 200 pesos, citing the dire living conditions of workers. Is this something that the President has already considered and is discussing with his cabinet?
Actually, ang direktiba lamang po ng ating Pangulo ay sundin po kung ano yung nasa Labor Code at nagbigay na rin po siya ng kautusan na i-review po ng Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board ang mga salary or wages ng ating mga kababayan sa bawat rehiyon. At sa kasalukuyan po, nagkaroon na po ng pag-review sa 16 na rehiyon at may mga rehiyon na rin po na nagtaas na mga sweldo. Ibibigay ko na lamang po sa inyo ang mga detalye kapag ka po nasa akin na po ang kopya. So yun po yung pinaka-good news po natin sa ibang mga kababayan po natin. At sa ganito po kasing pagtataas ng sweldo po, kinakailangan din po natin kasi madinig lahat ang employers, employees, para po mabigay po natin ang mga mas maganda at reasonabling sweldo po para sa kababayan natin.
So wage boards pa rin po. As to the legislated hike, the President is not keen on pushing for that.
Yan po ay ngayon po ay pending po, kung di ako nagkakamali, sa Kongreso. So hintayin na lamang po natin kung meron po silang magiging resulta sa kanilang gagawin pong legislation.
So yung forthcoming na i-certify as urgent ng Pangulo ito, hindi pa po natin nakikita?
Wala pa po, as of the moment po wala po sa akin pang naibibigay kung anumang direktiba patungkol po dyan, pero minadali po kaagad ni Pangulo ang direktiba po dito sa ating RTWPP.
Thank you.
Yusek, we have one follow-up question from Alexis Romero, Philippine Star.
So Yusek, given the directive of the President to review the wages from the wage boards, so it means that the President prefers the wage boards as a mechanism for the adjustments rather than Congress. Tama po ba yun?
Kasi po, ang saklaw po ng ating Pangulo ay of course yung nasa ehekutibo. Mas madali po kasi magbigay agad ng direktiba para po sa taong bayan kung ano po yung makakaginhawa sa ating mga kababayan. Sa Kongreso po, ito po ay sa Congress po natin ilalaan ang trabaho po na ito.
But in terms of preference, what the President prefers?
Kung ano po ang makakabuti sa taong bayan.
Wage board.
Kasi mas madali po kasi silang mapakiusapan, mabigyan ng direktiba. Kasi po mas pag ganun po, mas madali po natin maibibigay ang benepisyo sa ating mga kababayan.
Okay, salamat po.
Yusek Claire.
At dito po nagtatapos ang ating briefing. Maraming salamat Malacanang Press Corps at magandang tanghali para sa bagong Pilipinas.
So to my knowledge, during the Duterte time, never tayong nag-intervene na, except etong kay Solgen ng June 24. I may be wrong kasi knowledge ko lang to, but June 24, nag-intervene siya. Sinabi niya, sandali lang, please postpone, di ba? Hindi ko pa nababasa anong dahilan na to postpone. During the Marcos administration, we did not, no? We had no filing sa ICC whether na ituloy niyo yan o wag niyong ituloy yan.
It was Secretary Guevara who filed the Philippine position with the ICC.
But that was still Duterte time kasi September.
No, it was already our time.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll refer to that. But did we ask them to stop or to proceed or?
Yes, we were asking them to stop, but
we asked them to stop.
But we failed the test. We didn't win the case.
Okay. Did they tell you why? Was it our justice system or they said na pwede pa rin? Or just submit
It's actually the ruling also that what is being tried here is not a country but individuals who may have violated international humanitarian law.
Sige po. But clear naman dun sa Article 17 and 18, the state intervenes but it's individuals naman eh. Diba? So I won't go into that na. So I'll move on to, sinabi ni SOJ, investigations are ongoing. Diba? Whether this is individual or groups, whether police or nothing to police, diba? Na sa lahat ng extrajudicial killings.
But it has not been easy, Mr. Senator.
It's not.
It has not been easy.
To your point, I don't have it right now, but Senator De Lima said hindi inimbestigahan. I looked at the investigative capacity of the PNP during the Aquino administration. Parang 1/3 din lang ang naimbestigahan. And of the total na naimbestiga, it was, I will correct my numbers, but it was like only 20% of those investigating were trained for investigation. That was a long time ago at minana din lang ni President Aquino yon. But ang point ko, there was no substantial difference between the investigations in the Aquino and Duterte.
The difficulty that we had from 2022 is that in wrongful death situations throughout the country, where something foul was suspected, there were no police reports.
Okay.
As a matter of practice, there were no police reports on wrongful death situations. And when we tried to dig further and we spoke to the medico legal, the most known medico legal person in the country, Dr. Fortun, when she investigated a wrongful death situation, the death certificate indicated cardiac arrest as the cause of death. But in the autopsy, there were bullet holes in the head of the person.
That is in itself is evidence, di ba?
Yes,
If there
it's
was
evidence.
if there was widespread na walang police report, and that's the first time I heard that, because when I was SFA, Foreign Affairs Secretary, and I was asking, sinasabi nila, sir, lahat yan at dapat pagka-suspicious, ganito yung sistema, no? And kung meron forensic na cardiac arrest, ganyan, so at the very least may falsification yan, di ba?
Yeah, when we looked at the records of the wrongful death situations, there were really no police reports.
Okay.
Maybe 95% had no police reports.
So anyway, that's for another hearing, etc. Ang point ko lang, our justice system is working.
It is working.
It is working. I mean,
Yes.
it has its ups and downs, and may common belief na pag administrasyon ng presidente, may konting protection for that. May ganun belief, whether it's true or not. But this isn't anymore so 2008 to 2010, 2010 to 2016, kung kailan man nagkaroon ng breakup unit team, hindi na panahon ni President Duterte ngayon to. So
Actually, what cases that we are speaking about were filed by their families in the ICC because they could not get justice in the country.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that nobody wants their cases in the ICC to get any attention at all from anybody who cared. Because for the longest time, ito mga biktima, yung mga namatayan, yung mga pamilya nilang namatay o kaya napaslang sa drug war, ay wala ho nang mapuntahan. Kaya doon ho sila nagpunta sa ICC.
I said SOJ na may belief na pag panahon ni Arroyo, it's very hard to go after. May truth o hindi in the sense that meron na presidential while you're president. Pero pagkatapos hindi, di ba? That's why after President Erap's time, nakulong siya. After President Arroyo's, nakulong siya, di ba? After President Aquino's time, wala naman nag-file ng kaso kay President Aquino. Okay? So kung ang belief, wala kang justice kay Duterte during his time, I won't comment, but that's a belief. But 2008 to 2010, hindi sila nag-file. 2010 to 2016, hindi sila nag-file. And then ngayon, pwede sila mag-file. Diba? So, and so I mean, the ICC should also look at our patterns and system. It's not only the period eh. So, the second point I want to make is that Cotabato. One, hindi naman dinala ni, and she's free to manifest here kung mali ako, di naman niya dinala sa DOJ or sa Ombudsman yung dalawa eh. After dalhin sa Senate, hindi ko na alam kung anong ginawa nila. Okay, two, assuming it was because they think walang mangyayari during Duterte's time, did anyone bring Edgar Motobato and Las Cañas either to the DOJ, NBI, or to the pwede bang dumiretso sa witness protection or that?
Marami ho kami nakakausap na possible witnesses.
Yes.
But not them.
Yeah.
But not Matubato.
But example lang, yung dalawa lang, no? So ang point ko lang, di ba, if the rest of the world, the European human rights activists, etc., for the record, SOJ, if these gentlemen are brought to you, and I'm not talking about the prosecutorial lang or DOJ, I'm talking about the whole machinery, the witness protection, the NBI, the PNP, the CIDG, will we investigate?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
We would have. We would have.
Will, diba? So, in the same manner that General Torre is complaining about vloggers who have fake news about him, if there are complaints about Marcos vloggers na fake news, you will also investigate CIDG, di ba? People might believe or not, but you are duty bound to investigate whatever side, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but of course, during Duterte's time, they did not believe. If kasuhan mo Duterte vloggers, they don't believe may mangyayari, di ba? But I think there were some na cyber libel, even during Duterte's time, no? So the point lang I'm making, and it is not addressed to you but to the international community, is that the Philippines is a vibrant democracy, di ba? Our economy is good. The peaceful transition from Arroyo to Aquino, from Aquino to Duterte, from Duterte to Marcos has done as well. So yes, we have problems with politics now, but which country doesn't? The US, Europe and the US, di ba? May mga significant difference sila. I mean, many countries are at war. We're not at war. Di ba? We have problems with China, but we're working it out. Di ba? We have problems with other countries. We're working it out. We have problems with Pogo. We're working it out, di ba? So my point is, di ba, na in my view, dito dapat, yes, accountability, pero dito dapat trinay ang ating dating Pangulo. The last point I want to make is that iba pa rin pag former president. I mean, sa US, na US Constitution nila that the Americans can't be tried elsewhere, but lalo kung US president. So sa akin kasi, kahit former siya, hindi na siya presidente, he's still a symbol Diba? Like me, diba? You know how hard I went against President Arroyo when she was president. But when I was speaker, may pinagawa siya sa House, winelcome ko siya, etc. Kasi she's, yung office, even if hindi ka na doon, nire-respeto mo pa rin iyon diba? So,
maybe I can,
go ahead, sir.
I have to tell the Senate that nobody's happy with what happened.
Okay.
Wala akong maligaya sa nangyaring ito. Ngunit, kailangan lang gawin namin yung aming katungkulan. Sa tingin namin yun ang aming katungkulan, ginawa namin ang aming tungkulin.
And sir, that's where we disagree kasi tingin namin there was another avenue to go to court. But as you said, that'll be probably part of the litigation. See the, not opinion, last few. So who received the March, so kailan po yung warrant? March 10 or March 11?
I know,
March 11, sir.
March 11.
March 7, it was under seal.
Okay, under seal.
Yun. Tapos, March 11.
Who or what office received it?
The PCTC.
PCTC.
Sir.
They received it. Then from them, Santrin and Smith.
To all the relevant law enforcement agencies.
Law enforcement. Then,
Yes, there are 3 Interpol connections in the country. NBI, Immigration, and of course, the PNP.
okay. Then when it was unsealed, was it immediately executed or did any relevant government lawyers review it muna to see whether a Filipino citizen, whether the rights of a Filipino citizen was being
Sir,
impeded?
just to be clear,
Yeah.
After the warrant was served on March 11, 3 a.m., it was only in the postmortem that we learned about the unsealing on March 7. So there was no information to us in the effect that it was unsealed on March 7 until after the service of the warrant.
Can you enlighten me on that, Sec? So the unsealing was...
Yes, we learned about the unsealing of the warrant post-arrest, sir.
Okay.
When he was there already, it was revealed to us that it was opened on March 7, although not transmitted to any government.
Okay.
We only received notice, formal notice. I think when the unsealing happened, that's when all the rumors started.
Okay.
I think
So-
that was the basis of President.
Thank you for that, SILG, because that factual na meron na nung March 7 na unseal, etc. So
But
I
again,
won't...
sir, I clarify that
Yes.
there was no one in complete knowledge of the unsealing until after the arrest.
Who unsealed it ba, theoretically? Or
It
what
was
office?
Secretary Boying, it was unsealed by the ICC.
By the ICC?
By the court, yes.
By the
Yes.
court, okay. Let's fill in the blanks na lang factually as you know, what do you call this, permits. But ang point ko, from the time it was unsealed, served to the President, did any government lawyer look at it muna and make a determination? Or we took it at face value na yan?
Yes, sir. Again,
You can change my words if you think
again,
prejudicial
sir,
yung word.
just to be and the ICC in whatever way or form. We only received the warrant of arrest, the PCTC, on March 11, 3 a.m.
But so when the PCTC,
sir.
yeah, okay. When that office received it, ang marching orders or ang SOP or if my words are prejudicial, correct me, please. I don't mind. I'm not put bias or prejudice. I'm just speaking the way I understand it. Did any look at it and check it out muna na or iserve na natin to?
Copy. I talked to the Secretary of Justice. He reviewed it. He assumed that it had a presumption of regularity as informed, and we subsequently informed the President of the existence of the warrant.
Okay. You concur with that?
Yes,
OJ,
yes. I reviewed. Transmitted to me.
This was
I was in Vienna at that time.
This isn't a trick question. So meaning, if you said no one reviewed, I would have asked, wouldn't it be a better protocol that someone reviewed para even before the accused goes to court? But saying that you reviewed it, I assume that you found it regular, and I won't argue with you there. I mean, I disagree that the warrant rise to the level that ipadala mo na lang siya doon, dapat sa court muna. But you were satisfied, at least in form. Again, I don't want to put words, form, and substance, but you know what I mean. Tinignan mo, and then okay na ano to.
Yes, I gave the clearance. I gave the clearance to serve the warrant.
Okay. So, again, I just want to make a point at that point in time that for me, kung tinanggap nung accused, nung arestuhin, okay lang. Pero kung hindi, sana may judicial review available. No, I already made the point of...
Sir, it was received at the first available instance that the accused allowed himself to read it.
Yes. That's where I disagree nga kasi something this complex, di ba? I would have rather, I don't know if it's 15 days, 30 days, give them enough time, etc. to go there. Tapos, lastly na lang siguro po, may mata sa gilid. Si Senator Amy, I think, natatagalan na rin dun sa 10 minutes ko. Okay. So, si SOJ naman explained the thin line between cooperation, jurisdiction, and everything. Okay? But, meron representative ang government. Diba? Kasi, so, we turned over the arrested former President Duterte, not to the Interpol, no? We turned them over to ICC.
Our Interpol representative turned him over to the ICC.
Oh, so if we were cooperating with Interpol, why didn't we turn them over to Interpol? And then sila na.
We did, sir. Mr. Lacanilao was the representative of the Interpol. He accompanied the former president to The Hague.
But hindi ba dual? Kasi di ba Mr. Lacanilao is Ambassador Marcus Lacanilao?
Yes, sir.
And
he's also part of the PCTC.
Yeah, but he's the special envoy for transnational crime.
Yes, sir. And
so he's representing the Philippine government, not Interpol.
Center for Transnational Crime is Interpol, sir.
Yeah, but what I meant is that he's representing the Philippine participation in Interpol.
He was given an appointment by the President to represent the Philippines in this matter.
Yes. Ang understanding ko lang SILG, di ba? So yung ICC, sinabi, kasi nga, wala naman sa Netherlands. Kung nasa Netherlands, then they would have asked the Dutch police, di ba? But since nga, or the state police, di ba? But since wala nga, they asked, and since the state withdrew, they asked the Interpol, and Interpol asked us. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
So, if we were cooperating only with Interpol, dapat sinurrender natin sa Interpol.
Yes, sir. That's what we did, sir.
No, Mr. Lacanilao
He was appointed.
turned him over directly to the ICC, not to the
Yes, sir.
Interpol.
Mr. Lacanela was given a special appointment by the president on that day, sir, on March 11, to represent the Philippines in the Interpol.
Yes, but the representative nung Interpol.
He was the representative, sir.
So dual siya, representative ng Philippines at ng International Interpol.
No, sir. If the structure of the Interpol is that the PCTC, the members of the PCTC, or as instructed by the president, becomes the representative of the Interpol. The Interpol, sir, does not mean that this international police will effect the arrest. The local members of the PCTC
acts as
the
their
Interpol
agent.
Yes,
so
sir.
when it says here, representing the state authorities for the purpose of surrender, Mr. Marcos Lacanilao, in this capacity, was representing the Interpol.
Yes, sir.
Not the Office of the President or the Philippine government.
No, sir.
Oh. I'll clarify that kasi usually pag special envoy, you're representing the government.
He was properly documented and appointed, sir.
Sige. Dati Lacanilao lang, ngayon medyo mas malinaw. No. Yes, okay. So, factual lang, agree to disagree on the other issues. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you to... yeah.
Okay. At this juncture and due to the lateness of the hour, I'd like to get rid of some housekeeping ng ICC dito sa Senado. Noong 2011, maliwanag na court of last resort ang ICC. At pupunta lang tayo dyan kapag ayaw o hindi kaya ng ating korte dito sa Pilipinas. Ngayon, nangangamba ako pagkat ang SOJ natin sinabi that the families or the victims of the so-called EJK were compelled to sue abroad inasmuch as there was a failure of our justice system. Hindi na gumagana ang ating mga korte. Sa mabilis lang na pananalita, baka naman na isa sa inyo ang pwedeng magpaliwanag dito sa kapalpakan or kawalang kakayahan ng ating korte na umandar. Kasi yun ang sinabi. Pero ang sabi naman ni Senator Santiago, the rule of complementarity, I think the DFA is more than familiar with that. Kabisado natin yan. Lahat ng treaty, complementarity ang sabi eh. Kapag hindi na kinaya o ayaw ng mga korte sa Pilipinas, doon lang tayo hahantong sa ICC. Tama po ba yun?
Mama, pwede ho kung... Ang ano kasi nito, yung mga nagpunta sa ICC ay sinubukan nila makakuha ng hustisya sa Pilipinas. Ngunit nabigo sila.
Pero sinabi ni Senator Cayetano kanina, ni walang naghain ng kaso dito.
Yung nga, ang problema nga po rito kasi, yung mga nangyari lalo na sa Mindanao, wala ho talagang paggalaw ang mga piskal ng panahon na yun. Hindi talaga gumagalaw ang kaso. Kasi...
Ang sinasabi niyo may pumila?
Meron mga nagreklamo, nagdangkang magreklamo, ngunit wala pong nangyari.
Pero
Yun po yun ang kaya sila nagpunta sa ICC.
Hihingi kami ng...
Hindi ko sila kilala, ma'am, pero yun nga yung mga nakausap ko na nung ilang mga araw nakaraan, yun sinasabi nila sa amin.
Maraming salamat, pero kung maaari, bigyan kami ng kopya ng DOJ kasi wala kaming kaalaman na ni isang kaso ay nahain sa anumang korte ng Pilipinas. Kung meron kayo...
Ginapin po namin, maghahanap po kami.
Okay. Pero, parang inaamin ngayon ng ating kabinete, lahat ng mga kinatawan na narito, na yung ating judiciary system, ang ating mga korte, hindi na gumagana.
Gumagana ang ating judiciary system.
Pero narinig natin ang dakilang senadora na nakalipas na huling hantungan lang ang ICC. Dapat hindi pupunta doon kung hindi talagang palpak na, talagang surrender na talaga.
Ito ilang taon na nga ho silang nagpunta sa ICC. Hindi lang naman ngayon po yan eh. Sila po yung nagpunta sa ICC noong 2016, 2017. Hindi pa ho, panahon pa ho ni Pangulong Duterte. Nakademanda na ho, nagdedemanda na po sila. Yun ho, dapat maging maliwanag dito.
Sige,
Hindi po
pahingi
sila
na-
nagpunta ron nung 3 years ago lang. Nagpunta po sila ron 8 or 9 years ago, nandun na po sila. Kasi marami ho rito yung mga nangyari po sa Davao nung mayor pa ho si President Duterte.
So sana maibigay sa amin ang listahan ng mga kasong hinain nito sa Pilipinas na hindi naman na umusad, na talagang walang pag-asang magtagumpay. Isa yun. Ikalawa, nakailang beses na sinasabi ng ating Pangulo paulit-ulit na umaandar ang mga korte dito, mahuhusay ang ating mga huwes at abogado. Bakit biglang inaamin natin na humalpak ang ating korte?
Ayun nga, nagkaroon po tayo ng panahon na talagang wala hong nangyari sa mga kaso ng EJK eh. Talagang wala hong nangyari.
Pero may kaso ba?
Nga ho eh, wala nga, hindi police report nga, wala eh. Ganun ho kahirap imbestigahan ang mga kasong yan. Magsisimula kasi tayo, pag tayo po'y nabigyan ng ulat na may nagdedemanda, ang una po natin hahanapin police report. Kasi at least sila po ang naglalagay ng recording ng lahat ng pangyayari sa kanilang mga komunidad. Eh kung police report po wala, saan kayo magsisimula ngayon? Tapos sa mga police na ilipat na sa iba't ibang lugar, wala na makausap.
Si General Marbil nandito, si General Torre nandito, siguradong pagtitibayin nila na araw-araw may murder sa blatter ng pulis. Pangkaraniwan na krimen
Hindi po sa drug war. Hindi po sa drug war.
yan.
Sa drug war po, wala pong blatter ang pulis. Marami nga walang blatter eh. Ang problema nga ho dito, napakarami hong namatay na ang death certificate nga nakalagay po cardiac arrest pero may butas po sa ulo mula sa bala.
So
Yun ang
tama yung
kakaiba.
so yun ang sinasabi ninyo, failure of our justice system.
Opo, nung panahon na yun.
So, suko
nagkaroon tayo
tayo
ng problema nung panahon na yun na hindi ho talaga maimbestigahan na maayos kasi pati ho ang piskal tinatakot po ng pulis nung panahon na yun eh.
Nung panahon na yun, ngayong panahon ngayon, hindi ba pwedeng magayon?
Hindi ngayon ho, mas maayos ngayon sapagkat sinisigurado po namin na ang piskal at ang pulis ay magkasama mag-imbestiga ng mga krimen. Hindi na ho katulad ng dati. Kung ano sabihin ng pulis, dapat masunod.
Kung mas maayos ngayon, ba't hindi na lang magpila ng kaso dito sa Pilipinas? Maayos na pala eh. Nag-iba na.
Hindi ko ho pwedeng tanongin yun sa mga nagdemanda sa ICC. Hindi naman po namin hawak yung mga taong yun eh. Hindi ho namin sila kilala.
Ma'am, as a matter of suggestion, if I may, ma'am, as stated by the Secretary of Justice, na yung mga biktima ng EJK, ang mga police report nila ay cardiac arrest pero may buta sa ulo. That numbers in the thousands, ma'am. Why does the Senate try to investigate that and investigate the circumstances surrounding that? Maybe, ma'am, you can come up with a more cohesive report regarding this matter.
Yes,
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, ma'am, on what to do. It's merely a suggestion.
No,
But when you have a police force,
I
ma'am,
already asked the SOJ earlier kung may listahan.
ma'am, but there is no investigation, ma'am, into the deaths by cardiac arrest, but with a hole in the head.
Kaya nga
Did the
sinasabi
Senate
ko kung may
investigate that,
listahan,
ma'am? Did the Senate
magtulungan
investigate
tayo.
it, ma'am? Did the
Po?
Senate investigate it? Has the Senate tried to investigate deaths by cardiac arrest, but with bullet holes in the head?
Na ginagamit ang pangalan state parties. Samantalang sa second, so ibig sabihin very liberal ang construction in favor of the accused. Pwede sa sarili niyang bansa o kung saan man siya dinala. Di ba tama po yun? Applicable ba to sa kaso ni Presidente Duterte?
Hindi na ho natin kinikilala ang ICC eh. Hindi na ho tayo kasama sa ICC. Kaya hindi tayo saklaw ng kanyang mga probisyon. Ang amin pong ginamit na batas dito ay Republic Act 9851. Yun po yung international humanitarian
naman
law.
tayo dyan sa RA 9851 sa Section 17. Kaya lang, ang gobyerno, paulit-ulit na sinasabi na meron tayong obligasyon na tumulong kahit hindi na tayo miyembro. Kaya nalilito ako, member tayo, tumutulong tayo, pero hindi applicable yung Article 59. Ano ba talaga? Are we or aren't we?
Yun nga ho ang yung pagkakaiba ng pagpaningin natin. Kasi ang tingin ko po, ang mahalaga sa atin ngayon yung domestic law natin. Ngayon, dahil ang ICC ay humingi ng tulong sa Interpol, nangyari po ang lahat.
Ang liwanag po ng Interpol, sinabi ng Interpol, hindi wanted si Presidente Duterte ng Interpol, wanted ng ICC, sila lang ang ginamit na kasangkapan.
Ganun nga ho yun, ganun pa rin. Pero,
hindi ganun yun, pagkaiba. Kasi kung minsan, maraming wanted talaga sa Interpol.
Opo.
Ang pinakamatindi dito sa Pilipinas, yung child pornography, very active po ako dyan, kaya kabisado ko. Kaya nagtataka po ako, hindi naman siya wanted sa Interpol. Interpol tayo ng Interpol, tapos hindi tayo bahagi ng ICC. Ba't nagkaganto?
Hindi naman ho kami nag-withdraw sa ICC ang Pangulong Duterte po. Kaya hindi na tayo kabahagi ng ICC.
Wala namang kinalaman doon. Hindi ini-invoke kasi ninyo yung ICC at yung Interpol. Samantala nga, hindi na nga tayo.
Actually, ang talaga hong ini-invoke namin, Republic Act 9851.
Okay? At ang liwaliwanag naman, miski sa 9851, sa last sentence, must be pursuant to applicable extradition laws. Hindi ba? Ang liwanag
Opo, last sentence po yan, pero mahaba pa yung paragraph bago dumating yan.
Hong Kong Special Admin, di ba, sa Hong Kong SAR versus Olalia, ang liwaliwanag niyan, di ba, kinilala talaga ang right for bail nung arestado at accused. Pareho naman to ng Article 59, kasi yung arrested person has a right to apply for interim release. Di pareho rin yun. In effect, dun sa ating mga korte, nagruling sila na halos eksakto ang epekto sa Article 59.
Yan po, bahala na po ang ICC dyan. Hindi na ho namin makokontrol.
Ako, ICC na naman.
Andun po kasi ang Pangulo Ang dating Pangulo ay nasa ICC po. Kaya kung meron ho ng gusto ng provisional liberty, doon ho sila mag-a-apply. Wala na ho kami magagawa doon. In fact, ito hong pinag-uusapan natin, subjudice na naman po ito. Yan naman ang problema rito.
So yung binabanggit na liberty of abode ni Attorney Medina kanina sa ating konstitusyon, wala nang aplikasyon.
Po, pero sa akin ang tingin ko puro sa liberty of abode na yon, parang that's the rule of search warrants Yun po yung aking nakikitang konteksto nun.
Palagay ko hindi naman limitado doon, ano? Anyway, siguro para lang makapag-aral kami ng gusto sa susunod, baka naman makapagbigay kayo ng 2 o 3 pang mga Pilipino na inaresto ng ating pamahalaan na walang warrant of arrest, tapos dinala sa ibang bansa na wala namang court order na galing dito.
Marami ho yan. Ito po yung mga foreigners, karamihan po. Hindi pa nga Pilipino.
Then, tinatanong ko po yung Filipino citizen. Kasi syempre yung foreigners...
Ito po, this is a case of first impression. Hindi pa ho nangyayari ito. But I have to posit that it is a case of first impression. Hindi pa ho nangyayari ito sa kasaysayan natin.
Kaya nalilito po kami kasi yung DOJ dati talagang pinagpipilitan na nag-comply sa Article 59. Ngayon, sinasabi na hindi na kailangan na dalhin sa local authorities at... parang yung DOJ, may sinasabi na halos judge na kayo. Paano naman nangyari nagkaroon ng judicial powers?
Yun po yung binigay sa atin na options ng batas, 9851, Section 17 po.
Palagay ko, hindi tama yun. Kasi, Attorney Medina, talaga bang DOJ was vested by the Constitution with judicial power? Kailan naman po nangyari yun? Sa bahagi ng ating saligang batas naging huwes ang ating DOJ?
Wala kaming claim to judicial power. Dito po, executive action po ang aming ginawa. In accordance with Section 17.
Pero hindi nga po
Article
alien
9851.
Hindi nga pwedeng isurrender kasi hindi nga alien. Pilipino man siya.
Hindi ho. Malinaw. Gusto basahin ko ulit for the record para malinaw
alam na
po sa
natin
ating
yun.
lahat.
Oo.
Kasi,
baka naman si Attorney
baka minsan baka nalilimutan natin yung mga nasasaklaw ng batas Papasahin ko po ulit.
Hindi. Alam ko na yon. Oo. Yes, please, Attorney Medina. May idadagdag kayo? Hindi ba yung Constitution, wala naman judicial power? Kaya pinagpipilitan natin na bumalik sa korte.
I'll be consistent with my previous opinion, Your Honor. The right to liberty can only be, the deprivation of the right to liberty can only be adjudged by a court of law. Now, even assuming that executive officials would have the power to make a final adjudication on the right to liberty of an individual, at the very least, that individual whose right to liberty is at risk should still be accorded administrative due process at the very least, which means still notice, opportunity to be heard, and a decision by an impartial tribunal. So the fusion, what the Constitution wants to prevent is the fusion of executive and judicial power in the hands of one person. One American constitutional expert declared that as a form of tyranny. So I'm not casting aspersion on the actions of the executive officials involved. I'm sure they consider the legality, and I'm sure they're willing to present clear legal basis for their actions. It's a matter for the courts to settle po. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Attorney. Ang tinutukoy ko, SOJ Remulla, etong sinabi ni ASEC Nico Clavano, March 13, sinabi niya the Justice Department and the prosecutors can be considered competent judicial authority. Hindi po kayo nagsabi nito, kundi prosecutors were present during the service of the warrant and somehow they magically turned into the judiciary.
Then, if that is your opinion, ma'am, I will
It's not
respect
my
your
opinion. I'm just quoting the statement derived from your spokesman, sir.
I'm sure that that was meant in a figurative manner, ma'am. It's not meant literally.
Ipapatuloy ko, kapag sinabi natin na kailangan padalhin sa korte dahil siya ay mag-a-attest, yung judge naman po, wala naman doon. Hindi naman niya na-witness yung pag-serve ng warrant hanggang sa pagbasa ng Miranda rights. So sabi niya, yung complementarity, hindi naman na importante until such time as the state is unwilling or unable to prosecute the same crime. So parang naging judge na rin yung SOJ. Papayag ba kayo ng ganon? Yun lang ang tanong.
Hindi po yun ang aming gustong sabihin dito. Yun po mga salitang ginamit lamang dahil sa sitwasyon ng pinag-uusapan. Ngunit wala akong intensyon na sabihin kami po ay hukuman. Hindi po kami hukuman.
Maraming salamat sa paliwanag dahil lihis ito sa sinabi ninyo nung budget hearing nung nakaraan na taon na hindi judicial authority ang SOJ. Hindi katulad ng sinabi ng spokesman ninyo, kundi kinakailangan bumalik at bumalik pa rin sa korte na Pilipino dito sa ating bansa. Maraming salamat. Wala na po akong tanong at napakahaba na po ng hearing. Nagpapaumanhin ako sa inyong lahat.